Hello my nudes, how's it going? I hope you're having a fun time. Yesterday I played through the full demo of Star Trek Voyager Across the Unknown, and I gave a few comments at the end of the playthrough with my thoughts. But that video was almost 2 hours long, so I thought I'd put together a shorter video with just a review so you know whether the game is worth looking into from a Star Trek fan's perspective. Now I really didn't know much about this game going in. I saw it was called a roguelite in an interview, which basically means it's a game where you make choices, explore, and if you fail, you often have to start over, but you do keep some of your progress. And I thought, okay, I don't normally play roguelites because I hate starting over, but it's Star Trek and it's a free demo, so obviously it's going to happen. From the start, I realised this game is a lot more involved than what I'm used to. If you're a regular viewer, you'll know that I play mainly FPS games, and I'm also usually a controller player. So moving into a game that works best with mouse and keyboard, that requires me to plan resources, strategise, and make difficult decisions instead of just blowing stuff up. Well, it's all a bit alien to me. Alien. Star Trek. Get it? Sorry, I'll move on. I have just started with Star Trek Online, but I can't really get my head round it yet. The combat hasn't really clicked, mostly because of the controls, and it seems you have to team up with other people in order to complete some goals, but I don't want to do that because I'm a miserable sod. The demo of Across the Unknown, on the other hand, explains most things in a simple enough way that even I can understand. It does leave out exactly how the quote-unquote chance aspect works, which is a key part of roguelites. Basically, your choices are influenced by random elements like which enemies you encounter or what resources you find or what crew you're using. So no two playthroughs are ever exactly the same. But once I realised some outcomes were out of my hands, I started to get along with the system quite well. In Across the Unknown, you start at the very beginning of Star Trek Voyager, with it taking its plot from Season 1's two-part opener, The Caretaker. It doesn't play exactly like the episode. For example, you, as Captain Janeway, arrive on Voyager via shuttle instead of departing from Deep Space Nine, which I guess is due to licensing issues. And that also leads us into being able to unuse the hauntingly wonderful Voyager opening theme by Jerry Goldsmith. Another missing element is any form of voiceover at all. So know that this game is extremely text heavy. You don't even get a computer voiceover reading out things from your tutorial pad, which I thought was a bit strange. The story opens with Voyager having travelled to the Badlands to capture a renegade Marquis ship before being hit by a strange energy field and then transported into the Delta Quadrant. Here you take command of Voyager as Captain Janeway and make decisions based on key points in the episode. Now let's break down the main gameplay aspects of Across the Unknown, how they work, what you have to do, and what I think is great and what can be improved. So, first things first, you've got a ship, you've got a crew, and you've got a bunch of rooms that all need attention. There are labs, workshops, sickbay, loads more, and they all require repairs, maintenance and crew assignments. You have to balance available resources, assign crew members, and manage your upgrades carefully. For example, I had to pause work on one room to free up people to repair another. And then I needed to coordinate research cycles so I could start building a transporter signal amplifier to progress in the mission. The decision tree is actually pretty interesting. You can decide where to put resources in order to improve rooms and equipment. That's where the game shines compared to a straightforward shooter. Also, progressing through opening rooms allows you to access extra equipment, increase crew morale, and even unlock new characters like the Doctor. Each time you choose to clean, repair or research something, it will take a certain number of cycles. It's not clearly explained in the game how long one cycle is in the real world, so I can't tell you if one cycle would pass if you left the game running and went and made a sandwich, But in-game, while you're waiting for a task to complete, you can navigate around points of interest on your local sector map, which handily tells you how many cycles it will take to get there. Away missions are an integral part of the gameplay. They allow you to collect information, items, and even new crew members. Before beaming down, you'll need to select the away team members. Depending on the mission, one crew member may be specifically required and is pre-selected. On others, you can choose whichever crew you want. Each crew member brings a different set of skills to the table. Some missions might give you suggestions on traits that would be useful, others let you choose from anyone available. There is some sort of skill tree on the left of the screen, but it was never clearly explained what those symbols meant and whether the idea was to light them all up or not, so I just assumed that the more lights there were, the better. When you beam down, there's no physically moving the characters in any way, it's just all text-based, and the only graphics you'll get is minimal artwork that's somewhat based on what's happening with the text. I say somewhat because on a couple of missions I went on, the artwork didn't represent the characters I chose, and in one case it featured a character not even available to me because of a previous choice I'd made. As I said though, this game is a demo, so this might be a simple bug, but if you're going to show a pictorial representation of the story, it really should represent what is going on with the characters involved in that mission, otherwise what's the point of the pictures? Away team functionality is pretty simple. Some dialogue occurs, you need to make a choice by selecting one of your available away team members to carry out your orders, and then you get a result based on their skill level. After you use an away team member, they'll become fatigued and require one turn to recover. So while you can use the same team member multiple times, their capabilities will reduce each time and your outcomes won't be as good. There's also the possibility of injury or fatalities during away missions, and the danger level is indicated alongside each character. It's not clear in the demo whether some crew would be more at risk than others based on their skill level, but I would imagine that would be an integral part to crew management. In some scenarios, you can also choose 2 crew members to complete a task and have a chance at critical success. There are also critical choice points which allow for divergence in the plot, such as deciding to save one character over another, and these are clearly highlighted, which is good, so you know to weigh your decision accordingly. Combat. It's there. Kind of. Phasers fire automatically, and you fire torpedoes manually. You select 3 heroes who will control certain ship systems based on their skills, such as evasive maneuvers from Tom Paris or warp core overcharge from Belana Torres. Once your heroes are chosen, you'll need to decide how you will initially attack. You can decide on a defensive or offensive action. You can choose what enemy system you will be targeting and what you will focus your repair efforts on. Each hero has a cooldown period before you can use their special skill, and this cooldown is different for each crew member. Each special skill also has a different effective period depending on who they are. Torpedoes will only work when shields are at low power or down completely, so you'll need to use them carefully, especially as you only have a limited supply. The combat gameplay itself was fine, but very similar to Star Trek Online, which, as I said in the intro, I'm not really a fan of. I'm not sure why I don't like it. I guess it's because my main exposure to space battles was Wing Commander and TIE Fighter, which allowed you full control of a small, fast fighter, rather than having to deal with multiple weapon systems, managing crew, fixing things, targeting other things, and more. It's all a bit overwhelming, but maybe something I could get used to if I was exposed to it more than a 2-minute skirmish that I had in the demo. The lack of quote-unquote Star Trek style music is a major down point for me. I understand that there are licensing issues, but if we take the example of 2000 Star Trek Voyager Elite Force, Raven Software commissioned their own music, which included a fantastic new theme tune. Elite Force playlist in the description, and you can hear the theme in the first episode if you want to check it out and see what this game could technically do. There's also the sound effects. These are few and far between, but to me they don't evoke the Star Trek Voyager universe to me. They just sound like standard SFX, really. The subtitles also need work, which is problematic as they're the main part of the gameplay. The intro subtitles ran so fast I couldn't keep up with them, and if I wasn't familiar with the story, I would miss a couple of major plot points. And while I completely understand why they haven't used the original cast and crew voiceovers, they could at least have had a computer voice to read out the tutorial messages and away team description text. There were also several cases that I found spelling mistakes. Now that's just me being picky, but if you've got a text-based game, then surely you need to spell check the text. I'm not sure what other games in this genre are like when it comes to the amount of text, but this game is extremely text-heavy, which could put some people off, especially those with visual impairments. Overall, I really enjoyed the game. The demo is currently free on Steam and available for a few more days, so I would definitely check it out while you can. I'll leave a link to it in the description and pinned comment, and also the full game so that you can wishlist it. The combination of resource management, tactical choices, and meaningful story decisions makes it worth a try. And honestly, it does feel very Star Trek in the way that it makes you consider consequences, like protecting lives, balancing priorities, thinking ahead, and trying to uphold the ideals of the Federation, all while trying to get your crew home. As for the full game, I'm cautiously optimistic. My main concern is how the combat's going to work. The demo didn't give me enough time to really get to gauge whether I'll enjoy it on the full release or not. We also don't know how much of Voyager's 7 seasons the game will cover, whether it will firmly stick to Season 1 plot lines or introduce completely new missions, whether it will just take part in Season 1 and other seasons will be DLCs. We just don't know. Either way, it's coming out in 2026, which coincides nicely with Star Trek's 60th anniversary. So, that's my full review of Star Trek Voyager Across the Unknown, the demo version. If you'd like to watch the full demo playthrough, I'll leave a link in the cards and the pinned comment. So my question to you, would you have destroyed the array, or would you have taken your crew home? Let me know in the comments, and follow me on socials to find out when new videos are out, or when I'm going live on Twitch. I've started streaming again, and I'm thinking of streaming my first attempt at playing Star Trek Bridge Commander, and that will probably end in hilarious failure. Until next time, my nudes, go and listen to the Star Trek Voyager soundtrack, and have a good one.